Hi there. Welcome back to Empowered in Tech, Women in Tech Netherlands, the podcast where we amplify the voices of women shaping the future of technology. I'm your host, Ilaria Severi, global brand manager. I like to say storyteller and brand strategist. And today we're diving into a conversation that sits right at the intersection of innovation, equity, and leadership. Because the workplace should look like real life, right? If everyone looks the same and comes from the same background, you're doing both yourself and your employees a disservice. The real world is diverse. And if we want to reflect that, we need equity, diversity, and inclusion at every level of an organization, not just at the bottom, but also in leadership where decisions are made, right? That's why today we're talking about how digitalization and AI can open doors to more inclusive workplaces and why women in technology are essential to making that future a reality. And I couldn't think of a better guest to guide us through this conversation than Mariska Kleiss, a result driven global marketing leader, strategist, and digital transformation expert. She's at the forefront of AI in marketing, an active voice in women in tech. She's one of our biggest members of the community. She's been there for a long time. And full disclosure, she's part of our very own podcast sponsor, DMN Westinghouse. And to be fair, it's thanks to her that this podcast exists because thanks to her, we have a sponsor. And about that, before we dive in, I want to thank again our sponsor, DMN Westinghouse. They're not only powering this podcast, but also embodying the values we're discussing today: equity, diversity, and inclusion. With a strong commitment to creating opportunities for women in tech and beyond, they're building a future where innovation thrives because every voice is heard. If you're curious about joining their team, check out their open roles and follow them on LinkedIn. Hello, Mariska. Welcome. How are you today?
Hi, Lara. Nice to meet you. Yes, I'm doing fine.
Great, great. Well, we already met many times in real life, but maybe not in the digital,
Not in the
via
digital
digital,
world.
right?
No, most of the time we meet face to face and not in this.
At the Cloud9 event, I have to say, which is one
Exactly.
of the nicest events organized by Women in Tech. So if
Yeah.
you want to get to know our community, check out Cloud9 event.
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay, so let's start at the foundation. Why, based on your experience, you believe and you've seen how diversity and inclusion are so critical to building not just successful workplaces today, but also successful products and services?
Yeah, why innovation needs diversity and inclusion. Innovation needs different views and follow through. Diversity bring more ideas and fewer blind spots. Inclusion makes sure those ideas are heard, funded, and
Mm,
delivered. I think that if our teams don't look like real life, we design for a user who doesn't exist. Because if it's not real life, then it's also not a real life user. And
mm.
and I think we need to keep it simple. We agree decision rules up front, invite different views early. So which means that when we are going to, I'm in a manufacturing industry, so we
Okay.
design rotary valves and diverter valves, and it's really a man world. And I
Mm.
think it's really important that we have this diverse team from scratch, that when we are going to develop a product or that we are adjusting our products or improving them, that we have a diverse team based on different kind of cultures, also from different kind of departments, because then it's looked like real life, and then we
Yeah,
are going to develop something that for a user who really exists.
that makes totally sense. And do you have any example that you maybe could share with us about a moment or maybe a product development or you name it where you saw really this happening?
Yeah, what we do is I'm from the marketing department. And when I started here, we were just really like into making leaflets and brochures. And now we're
Hmm.
running more marketing campaigns. And since we're a global company, we invite people from different countries and
Mm.
different cultures and different, yeah. So we have really this diverse, inclusive team. And we were all working together, collaborating on this campaign, because I think when you run a campaign, for example, in India, you
Yeah,
can't have the same approach than you do it, for example, for Italy. It's so
of course.
different kinds of people. And since our product is really worldwide, it's really important to work from different kinds of, yeah, from different kinds of perspective and different kinds of cultures. But it's not really, it wasn't really easy because this is really, the company is really based here in the Netherlands. So we have a
Hmm.
lot of men and we have, and women are really, I think when Anna started here, there were maybe 2 women or 3
Oh,
women.
wow.
Now we have a little bit more. And what I also like is, I think I'm not really in like, okay, we need more women because it's our women. But I think it's nice to have this combination of men and women because
Yeah.
women always look from a different kind of point of view. And sometimes maybe women understand the customer a bit more or what they want to have and what they want to receive. And yeah, coming back to this one, like that for a user or a customer who doesn't exist, the outside world is also really diverse. And I think that's everywhere around the world already. So yeah, you can make the best products if the team is also diverse.
Absolutely. And I mean, you just said a little bit what your job entails, but also you lead digital transformation initiatives, like you said just now, moving from what was more paper to campaigns and you name it. And we talked about it before, and it's with a strong focus on AI. How do you see AI and digitalization creating opportunities for more inclusive workplaces? And I think this is a big, big topic that.
Yeah, I think this is really a big topic because yeah, still we have to convince people that AI is here to stay. So we have that's the main barrier for now. So
Mm,
people don't trust it. People don't rely on it. Most of the time when I think my work, I use maybe for 80%, I use AI during my day-to-day job. And when I'm sending someone, people are always saying, oh, you use AI. Oh, you did use AI. I said, yes, but this is nowadays, this is how the world works right now.
hmm.
So why not use it? Maybe we're not using everything that AI can help us with. We're not maybe always using it in the best way. And I
Yeah.
think there it comes in when we are talking about more an inclusive workforce workplace. I think it's also important that you have the AI, but you also have the business ethics, the ethical things that you have
Mm,
like at your company. You have something like, okay, when you're using AI as an employee of a company,
yeah.
how can you use it? And when does it really come into this ethical thing that it's not really okay to use it?
Yeah.
So for example, when you look at the people from AR, how do you review a CV or how do you keep the human in the loop? So how can we use this AI, but use it in the right way? And if you want to be a more diverse workforce, how can we make it that we don't go into these gender biases?
Yeah. Can one thing before you continue, can you tell our speakers, because maybe our listeners, sorry, because maybe they don't know the definition of ER and SCV you said?
Oh yeah.
Can you say what it means?
Yeah, for sure. HR is like human resources,
Ah,
and
you said HR. I thought you said
HR.
EAR. I was like,
Oh
okay,
no,
maybe it's
sorry, no,
something
no, no,
else. That,
no, no, no.
all right, all right. Then everybody knows about HR.
Yeah,
Yes.
and your application. So
Yeah.
I think it's important that we set some clear rules and explain how tools work and how you can protect the data that you fill in, the
Yeah.
privacy, and that you keep the records. And, everybody is filling in everyone's name and just
Yeah.
load up their picture. How can we make sure that it's not there everywhere and that people also don't think, okay, why are they using my data? How about the
Yeah.
privacy? And yeah, and I think if we do it in the right way, we can for sure use AI because then we can make better decision, faster first value, and wider participation. But for sure, we need to work on this one as well because now it's a bit of like, okay, we're using it, and I don't mind.
That's true. I can see that as well in my work, in other people's work, or in general how we always use right now AI. Right, like it's really like our best intern, we could say, like the intern that everybody wanted to have, or like the best junior or associate, whatever. But it's true that we're using it really as if just we're asking it something and we get something back. But indeed, what can be the implications at a bigger scale? I think I don't remember what query I put in, or like, but there have been moments where you could totally tell how the AI models are built with biases already. And we need to be very, I think there needs to be for sure more literacy about how to use AI, because we need to be very cautious and very smart at understanding where the biases are in, and not just taking that answer from the AI machine model, whatever, as the absolute answer. Which I think it's many times the problem nowadays, because we trust it so much, because we see it gives such good answers
Yeah.
that we don't stop and think, is this true? Is this right? Is this ethic?
Yeah.
So I think what you say about eventually, I mean, I know that there are companies like, but for sure the bigger ones like Google and probably Meta, that they created AI, of course, but they also have their own internal frameworks about how AI can be used and what it implies. But I think that as we move further and further, we should not avoid AI, but we should just create better frameworks.
Yes, and I totally agree. And I totally agree what you say. It's like the best AI assistant and assistant that you want to have, because I use it as a marketing marketing research assistant. It's really nice. But yeah, you're so right, because the bias is already in it. It's sometimes really hard to figure out if the answer is really correct. So you have to put a lot of effort in it as well. And I think it's also important that companies start with, okay, everyone is using AI, but what are our rules and regulations? How can we make sure that the data that we're using, because you're also using data from, yeah, like I said, from a colleague, or how can we handle that? How can we make it that it's not being used maybe in 2 years in the way that we didn't want to be, that we don't want to have it being used. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? It's we don't know where it's going, but for sure it will stay, and I really like it because it makes my work so much better and much more
It can
easy.
help you plan your holidays. It's right.
Yeah, that's so nice. Yeah, exactly. I use it for my groceries. I use it for a lot of things. But it's still, yeah, I don't know where it's going, and I think this is the moment just to step in for the companies, just to say, okay, we're here, we're a company, people are using it. How can we take care of this business ethic, gender bias? Yeah. So maybe everybody needs to take a course for sure. First thing, just like an AI
Or
course. So
I
just
think more than a course, someone needs to make a course. I
yeah,
think that's the
yeah,
problem.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe.
That's true. Yeah,
Well,
that's
if you
true.
do, I want a
Yeah.
percentage of it, because I just came up
I,
with it.
I see a new company coming in.
Right, but it's true. I think
Yeah.
that's the thing. That's what I said before, like, with that's what I meant with, we need more literacy.
Yes, we
And
need.
there is not. And who's gonna start it? There is a little bit. There are some AI focused agencies, but I remember in my previous job we had sort of like special day masterclass from this guy who manages this AI agency. But to be very honest, he didn't say anything. Eventually, he explained more about how to use it
Yeah.
rather than what to be careful about, or like
No.
rather than how to recognize biases, or like how to recognize bias, and or how to make it ethical.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think this requires a much deeper, I don't
Yeah.
know, process, a much deeper thought, a much deeper, more people probably to discuss that. And yeah, like you said, also like leadership has to be aware that they're also responsible for this.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Because you see also on LinkedIn so many people now saying, oh, I'm in AI. Oh, I'm the AI guru. Oh, I can have the company's AI driven. Oh, I can give a course. But you're so right, because it's all about how does it work and all the different kind of AI tools. But you really need to have a deep dive into it, and to make sure that those gender biases and that you are aware of that as well. I think that's
Yeah.
the main thing.
Yeah, for sure. And talking about now more like women in underrepresented areas of tech,
Yeah,
something that we mentioned more at the beginning.
yeah.
In your view, so what needs to change to ensure that more women can step into positions where they influence how technology is designed and deployed? Because that's another big topic, because we know that as of like until today, most of the technologies, even like the data there are input to build the AI models,
Yeah.
are made by men.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're so right. Oh, you know what? I recognize that did something, I think, with the Meta, with the Facebook, because now the algorithm is more. It's you get more ugly things coming in than before. So I think they changed something, so it's different. But you know what it is? I think most of the people, most of when you are working as a woman or a girl in a tech company, or maybe just in a company where there are more men than women, I think men are really not aware of the way they sometimes behave. They think most of the time they think they are really open and that you can say everything you like and that you will be heard. But that's not true. You really have to fight so much harder. You really have to explain much more and again and again and again. So it's so hard to have that seat on the table. And sometimes I think that we were going upwards, but I think we're going a little bit backwards now. I think it's even much more important that people are joining this Women in Tech, because I see the struggle is getting harder. I don't know why, but it's not that easy.
But what do you think needs to change to make this happen?
I think we need to. No, I have a different kind of things, because sometimes I think when you are with women at a company, we don't. In Women in Tech, we're always really nice to each other, lifting each
Yeah.
other up. And I really feel like sometimes when I'm struggling at work, and then I come to, for example, to this Cloud9, I was talking to the marketing people or talking to you about marketing, then I like, oh, I feel you. Oh, you feel me. I'm so happy because now I can share the story.
Yeah.
But I think when you're at a company, you have more women, we're not lifting each other up. Sometimes you're really more into like,
Absolutely.
you know, we're just like more fighting and want
It's
to get the
yeah.
attention of
Yeah.
maybe the management team or the board, or I don't know what's happening here.
That's a very valid point. I have 100% experienced that myself,
Yeah,
especially if you are in management positions, if
yeah,
you are heading a department, if you are managing people. And I think there are multiple reasons. And like you said, it's I think it's also because there are the majority of people in management positions are men.
yeah,
That's sort of like women feel, even subconsciously, I think many times it's subconscious, that they need to fight to get there, and that for them there is just one spot.
yeah,
So not everybody can be there, right?
yeah, yeah,
So I think many times that's what some people call catfight. Please pass me the term, but I have to say that sometimes is true, because there are those sort of catfights that are so unnecessary. Like you
yeah,
say, I think and this came up also, it's so interesting because this came up during the second episode of the podcast, if I'm not wrong, with Marisa, which is another amazing member of the community of women in tech, where she also said when women decide to help each other, to be there and not fight against each other, that's when and where the change will start.
yes, for sure, for sure.
And I'm not saying it's easy. Like I say, I think there are certain dynamics that allow this to happen, you
Yeah,
know, even if in principle we want this change, even if we want to lift each other up. But somehow, and that's why I think communities
yeah,
are very important,
yes,
because that's where you find like minded people from different backgrounds and with whom you don't share a job.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You
Yeah,
share an experience, but
yeah,
you're not under the same roof. And I think that that helps a lot to be in a neutral space to have honest conversations. When you are sort of under the same roof and you're fighting for the same bread, I think that's where many times the problem happens. But
exactly.
of course, it's like I say, it's a societal problem. And we need more people to believe in this change and see why this change is necessary.
Yeah. Do you think that we make it most of the time also personal? Do you think that we have, as women, have a different approach of receiving feedback, that more like we take it more personal instead of making it more general like men do? You know, sometimes men also, is that something that really that we have, or sometimes trying to explain also like I'm not talking about myself, I'm just talking about marketing. I'm fighting
Yeah,
here for the marketing department. I'm not
yeah,
fighting for myself.
yeah,
And then sometimes they say, "Yeah, but it's not. No, you're doing your job really great." And I was like, "I'm not talking about my job. I'm talking about I want to be, I want to have marketing here and not there."
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Do you
exactly.
think it's that's also that
I don't know. In my experience, I have to say that I've seen it all. I don't think that it's generally necessarily a gender related thing.
yeah,
Um, but again, I think that because of how society is built and the dynamic within society,
yeah,
that also enhances negatively, let's say, certain behaviors.
yeah,
And many times, what I've seen about some women in leadership positions or in at the C-suite management table, that they feel they have to become more manly
yeah,
to be at the table or to
yeah,
stay at the table. And
yeah,
I know I'm not talking like physically, I'm talking like behaviorally,
yeah,
mentally,
yeah,
or like maybe lose that. Because I think something that we have so beautifully as women is the empathy we're born with, right? And that could be our biggest strength.
yeah,
But I feel that sometimes to be in that position, you feel that you have to lose that empathy to a certain extent and lose your sensitivity because otherwise, yeah, you get the stupid comments, you get, she's emotional, you
yeah,
get, right?
yeah. So true. I hate
So,
that. Yeah,
so it's like a vicious, very vicious cycle. And
yeah,
how do we break it? I think if I had the answer,
yeah.
I would. I don't know. I would be
No.
somewhere else. I feel today, but it's hard. It's really hard. But I think it's really, really important that we talk about it.
Yeah, and maybe even nowadays, because when this is the real world and we're moving to a much more digital world where AI will be there, then
Yeah.
we will immediately move this thing that we have in the real world. We will move that to the digital AI world. So, and there will the struggle will be even more complex.
Yes,
You know
because
what
then
I
you
mean?
have to disrupt not just, I mean, you have to change not just the people, but the models that the people have
Yeah,
built. So, of
yeah,
course, you need to start from the people,
yeah.
right?
So it's not. It will be even more complicated for us as women because in our face to face
You think
daily.
so?
Because then it's even more difficult when it's all trained by men, and it's trained for a tip for some kind of behavior, and they didn't fit this one in. Then I'm not sure, but will that work?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We may not find the answer in this episode, but I would love for
No.
the people that are listening to us, you can also leave comments under our episodes on Spotify. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on this, and maybe, we can take this over again, but please leave your comments. To move forward, so you manage the marketing department, and you've been very vocal about the role of marketing in manufacturing tech, right? So not just as a support function, but as a real revenue driver.
Yes, for sure.
And I feel you because I work in the same field, same business, in marketing, same department, and it feels, it's always a struggle for us
Ye-
marketeers, right? But then can you tell us more about why marketing deserves a strategic seat at the table, especially in a digitalized AI driven world.
Okay. I think marketing links to the customer revenue. So I think we focus on the right customers. So not the loudest customer or the loudest signals. Like, okay, we see something happening over there, just move there. Oh, there's someone is really shouting hard, so we move there. So it's going around, not focused. I think
Yeah.
their marketing comes in. And if we can use AI to spot the patterns and we can see those risks much more early. So it's
Yeah.
something like a second opinion, just
Yeah.
that we have some more evidence. Like I think maybe this is something really feminine, female that we already see. Like okay, if we move there, it will not be the right direction, or why are we choosing that one? And maybe AI can help us to spot the patterns, to have for us a bit more evidence based, and maybe that will help us to convince people from the company like okay, you want to move that way. From my opinion, that's not the right direction. I checked this in the AI and this is the evidence that AI is bringing to me. So we see the risk much more early instead of being there already and then afterwards look like, oh, this wasn't a good way to go. I
Yeah.
don't know. So I don't know.
But you think that marketeers can do that better compared to other people in different
Mm.
departments?
Oh, better. I don't know. I think it's always a combination. I think when coming back, it's nice to work in a diverse team. To have like be somewhere like the customer in the real world. So the team is based on that, but the team needs to lift each other up, trust the AI, also check the AI, work together, and then yeah, I don't know. No, I think when marketing is not really better, but I think we have a lot. I don't know. We have a lot of information. Sometimes people maybe forget that we are the whole day watching our competitors,
Researching. Yeah,
researching,
true. True. That's very true.
looking at all those social. I start every day. I start with all social media from all our competitors, following it, seeing what's happening. Have also the AI tools which are just showing like okay, those companies last week launched this product, have those social posts, have so many followers. There's so much data which you now get out of an AI tool. And then I'm like here, yeah, so I think so that's what we have as a marketing department, but the others don't have. But still then we have to convince like it's not something, yes, I know it from a feeling, but here is your evidence. It's
Yeah.
AI driven and it's really here.
And I think what you say, it's a feeling, it's more like what you just explained, that we research so much. We're always looking outside that
Yeah.
somehow we know certain things, and it's sometimes hard to say why this works better than that, but because maybe you have seen the same content 10 times and you see that that content performs, and then in your mind you know what works and what doesn't. But
Yeah,
I know
I
that
think
this
that's
is
that's it.
right.
Yeah.
So I think it's more like because we are, yeah, we practice what we preach, but it's very, very hard. It's like, I think if you are a marketeer, maybe it's the same in other departments. I don't know, because I've always been the marketing communications department because that's what I love doing. But you always feel misunderstood
Yeah.
or not understood, I
Yeah.
would say, even.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like you always
exactly.
have to explain yourself and explain what your job is about,
Yeah.
why it's important that you're there.
Yeah.
And yeah,
What's
it's
happening when there is no marketing or no brand awareness or no
exactly until, you know
communication?
what I tell you, like many companies realize that on the moment that their competitors does an amazing campaign and this campaign generates, besides views, clicks, leads, whatever, and you're like, we need to do it as well. And you've been pitching that for like months, and they were like, no, this is not for us. But we like a challenge, and I think
Yeah, I
this is
think that's
also
true. That's also true. We need something. We need something that we can fight for. And not
right.
every time we go, we are somewhere down on the floor, and then we
Exactly.
throw up again, and then we're going to do the fight again because we really believed in it, because we saw so many
Exactly. And
other
you're like,
competitors
please.
pushing. Like we say, oh, I see it, we need to do this because really just believe me, because we need to do it. And then 2 years later say, oh, we need to do this. Yes, I was there
Yeah,
already 2 years ago.
exactly. So It is what it is. But I think the challenge is also one of the topics that came up during this episode.
Yeah.
We may not have all the answers, but we know that we need to find the answers.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I think the only way to do it is working on it collectively. Like I
Yeah.
said, there is not one person that can find the answer. We need to work on it collectively.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I think also, like, the gender bias is really a business risk. If you
Yeah.
don't do it the right way, then it will be a business risk. In the end, it will be a business risk in maybe 2, 3 years because the AI is developing so quickly. I
Yeah.
don't know. You have to be prepared. I think that's really important.
Definitely. And I mean, I want to close this beautiful conversation with something that you said before, which is diversity brings perspectives, ideas, and creativity, and inclusion ensures that voices are heard and those ideas become reality. And I think this is very, very important and a powerful reminder that diversity and inclusion is not just a nice to have, like a little bit like sustainability. It's not, let's put diversity and inclusion there and let's put sustainability. No, it should be the foundation, especially in the world where we live nowadays, such a globalized world, is the foundation for growth, innovation, and business success. Because like you said, people from different culture bring different ideas, different perspective. Of course, having different genders, that brings different perspective. We have all different beautiful minds, and imagine how many beautiful things we can do if you bring all these minds together. But Mariska, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really, really happy that I finally got you on the podcast. Thank you for sharing openly about your experience and the need to look for an answer.
Yeah.
It was great to have you here.
Thank you. Can I just add one final
Please.
thought? So this is really. I think it's nice if you can as a company just maybe you can start small. So make one decision more inclusive this week. Just one more thing. Measure it and scale what works. And I think it's also important make sure women are in the rooms where decisions are made with budget, voice, and sponsorship. That
Yeah.
just start small. Just add these women to the table and listen. So not, but really listen. There's a difference between hearing and
Yeah.
listening. So yeah, that will be nice.
Thank you so much. That's a very beautiful ending. And thank you to our listeners as well for tuning in one more time, or for the first time, maybe, to Empowered in Tech, Women in Tech Netherlands, the podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. You can do that on top of our Spotify profile. There is like 5 stars. Hopefully, you'll give us a 5. Don't forget to follow Women in Tech Netherlands on LinkedIn and visit us on our website to stay connected with our community. And once again, thank you to our sponsor, the Yemen Westinghouse, for supporting this mission and empowering women in tech everywhere. And as Mariska said, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, you can make a little difference. If you can do that with a little bit more diversity and inclusion every day, eventually a big change will happen. Until next time.